Something's in the air in Foxborough. A small piece of money that says way more than it costs. A name with real juice that can flip the field in one touch. A throwback offensive blueprint that people swear is dead, even though New England's been waiting to bring it back the right way. And a defensive chess move that could make opposing quarterbacks miserable. Today I'm going to walk you through how these signals connect, and why one hidden detail could quietly reshape priorities heading into the new league year. Before we get rolling, hit that like button if you love Patriots talk that's straight to the point, and subscribe if you ride with the Patriots Nation every week. Now let me ask you something that's going to split the room. Would you pay for versatility, or would you rather save it and swing bigger for a star? Hold that answer, because the craziest part of this whole thing gets paid off at the end. Let's start with something that looks like just $400,000. But here's the thing. In the NFL, that kind of move is usually the first tell of how a franchise wants to reward effort, availability, and trust in that locker room. Mac Hollins missed time from December into January because of a lacerated spleen. While he was out, he fell 4 catches short of hitting a $400,000 incentive. And instead of shrugging it off and moving on, the Patriots added a $400,000 signing bonus to his 2026 contract. That was out there Friday from SpotTrack's Michael Giannitti and NFL Media's Tom Pelissero. That's not superstar money. That's culture money. That's the organization saying, "We see the role you played, and we're backing it up." Hollins wrapped up the regular season at 46 catches for 550 yards and 2 touchdowns. He wasn't just out there occasionally either. He led the wide receiver room in offensive snaps with 657 across 15 games, 13 starts. Then comes the twist. He was activated off injured reserve on the eve of the AFC Championship game, which was the earliest possible return under the rules. And once the postseason hit, he gave them real production. 6 catches for 129 yards and a touchdown across playoff starts against Denver and Seattle. So what are we talking about here? Is this real wide receiver production that you build around? Or is this a player whose value is bigger than the box score? Because once you peel it back, the consequences get very practical. Hollins originally came to Gillette last March on a 2-year, $8.4 million deal with $3.5 million guaranteed. With this $400,000 sweetener, he's sitting with a 2026 cap number of $5.55 million. And according to Pats Cap's Miguel Benzin, that cap number includes $2.9 million base salary, $1.15 million in signing bonuses, a $150,000 off-season workout bonus, $600,000 in reception incentives, and up to $750,000 in active roster bonuses. Think about that for a second. The Patriots aren't just handing out cash. They're structuring it around being ready, being available, doing the work, and being active. That's a message, especially in a room that's going to be fighting for snaps. And I already know how the comments are going to go. One side is going to say, "Why are we paying a 32-year-old who isn't a true number one?" The other side is going to say, "Finally, reward the guy who does the dirty work, blocks, plays hard, shows up when it matters." Where do you land? Drop it in the comments, because this is exactly the kind of move that tells you what Vrabel's Patriots are going to value. Hollins has bounced around. Eagles, Dolphins, Raiders, Falcons, Bills, and he's got a Super Bowl 52 ring from his rookie year. That kind of veteran profile can glue a unit together fast. And if you think this is just a one-off kindness, don't. It's setting the tone for what comes next. Because if $400,000 can be a symbol, imagine what happens when the conversation shifts from symbol to pure electricity. There's a detail people aren't talking about enough, and it matters more than the raw receiving totals. The hidden value of a player who can change the game without needing 10 targets. The name being floated here is Rashid Shaheed. If you only stare at the box score, you might shrug. He logged 59 catches for 687 yards and 2 touchdowns across the Saints and Seahawks. Not insane, not headline-breaking, but that's exactly where you can miss the point. His value doesn't fully show up in the receiving column. It shows up the moment he touches the ball, and the entire stadium holds its breath. Be honest, can you picture that in Foxborough? And there's one play that explains why this kind of player is so intriguing. In the postseason, he returned the opening kickoff against the 49ers for a touchdown. First touch, immediate 7 points. That doesn't just add points, it changes the entire script. It changes what the opposing coordinator can call. It changes how your own offense can breathe. It flips field position, momentum, and pressure in one snap. For a team that has had stretches where the offense needed time to settle in, that kind of instant impact is real. It protects the quarterback. It keeps you out of third and long. It forces the other team to get out of conservative mode. That's the domino effect. And Shaheed isn't only a return guy. He's a functional receiver who can threaten space and create chunk plays. Maybe he's not a classic high-volume WR1, but he can stretch the field. And when you stretch the field, you open everything else. The middle of the field gets lighter. The run game gets cleaner. Tight ends get more room to work. Suddenly, red zone windows look different. But here comes the debate that splits Patriots Nation right down the middle. Do you invest in a player who may not be the weekly headline, but can straight up decide games with a few touches? Because you're not buying stats, you're buying volatility, in the best way. You're buying a player that makes defenses uncomfortable. At the same time, there's risk. Does he stay as lethal if his role expands? Or is he dangerous because he hits in doses? That's the question. And don't forget, special teams matter in this building. Vrabel's not the type to treat it like an afterthought. A guy who contributes in multiple phases doesn't just make the roster. He earns trust, he earns snaps, and he changes weekly game plans. Which starts to connect the dots. New England looks like it's building a roster where every piece has a clear function. Not just big names, clear roles. And that brings us to a contradiction people keep getting wrong about this offense. A lot of fans will tell you, it's 2026, two tight end football is old news. Like that era is gone, like it can't be a modern weapon anymore. But the reality is the opposite. It never left New England. It was waiting for the right pieces to bring it back properly. Josh McDaniels and the Patriots have always loved 12 and 13 personnel. Two tight end sets have been a staple here since the Gronk and Aaron Hernandez days. They tried to recreate it in 2021 with Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith. Henry stayed. Smith, let's just say that experiment didn't work out the way anybody hoped. Now here's where it gets interesting. Mike Vrabel coached Jonnu Smith in Tennessee, and when Jonnu left, Vrabel looked to replace that athletic seam threat style with Maryland's Chig Okonkwo. From his rookie year in 2022, Okonkwo has been reliable. He's not some touchdown machine, 8 touchdowns in 4 years, but he's consistently produced. He's never dipped below 450 yards, and he's had 52-plus catches in each of the last 3 seasons. That's a steady, functional weapon. And the bigger point, the tight end class is being talked about as a strength this offseason. Okonkwo is in the mix with names like Kyle Pitts, Dallas Goedert, Isaiah Likely, Travis Kelce, David Njoku, and Cade Otton hitting the end of their deals. You've also got Cole Kmet and Dawson Knox getting mentioned as possible cap casualties. So why does Okonkwo stand out here? Fit and familiarity. Vrabel's connection matters. The Patriots' obsession with those 2 tight end looks matters. ESPN's Matt Bowen even had New England as the best fit for Okonkwo, who was ranked 39th among free agents. And there's a money angle that makes it feel realistic. A contract around $9 million per year has been floated as fair. That's not break-the-bank territory. That's calculated team building. And pairing Okonkwo with Hunter Henry gives you balance. Okonkwo as the athletic complement, Henry as the steady fundamentals guy. Also worth noting, Henry is set to be a free agent at the end of the 2026 season. So bringing in Okonkwo isn't just about upgrading TE2 today. It's also about protecting the position long-term. And it ties back to a piece of analytics from the original breakdown. The Patriots had the highest total EPA in the entire league out of 13 personnel. So if the goal is improving the offense without lighting cap space on fire, upgrading tight end depth could be one of the cleanest ways to do it. But all of that offensive structure doesn't erase a problem that showed up loud and clear. This defense needs more pressure. And the solution being floated is a name that's already been a thorn in New England's side before. Here's my bet, and tell me if you agree. If the Patriots use their cap position to add the right disruptive piece up front, the impact can be immediate. One of the more interesting names being mentioned as a fit is John Franklin Myers. New England has the 10th most effective cap space in the league. Improving the offense is likely the priority, sure, but continuing to build the front 7 can't be ignored, especially after finishing 22nd in sacks per game. Inside, the Patriots have a nasty duo with Milton Williams and Christian Barmore. But off the edge, the high-end playmaking wasn't consistent. Harold Landry's production falling off down the stretch was likely tied to injury. K'Lavon Chaisson is set to be a free agent. Anthony Jennings and Elijah Ponder were solid depth options, but Jennings isn't giving you that pure pass rush juice. In a Bleacher Report article from Christopher Knox, New England was listed as a potential landing spot for multiple top free agents, and Franklin Myers stood out as a fascinating fit. He's a former Jet who turned into a Bronco, and he's the kind of player who disrupts plays even when he's not credited for the finish. And Franklin Myers has history in big moments. He strip-sacked Tom Brady in Super Bowl 53, even though New England recovered. He entered the league as a fourth-round pick in 2018, got drafted by the Rams, was waived after his rookie year, then claimed by the Jets, where he put up 17.5 sacks in 4 seasons. He was traded to Denver for a 6th-round pick before the 2024 season, and then posted his 2 best sack years, 7.0 and 7.5. Knox mentioned the Bears and the Patriots as potential suitors, pointing to Franklin Myers not being a pure QB hunter, but being disruptive, versatile, and productive everywhere he's played. And if you're trying to improve the pass rush without throwing everything at one megastar, that profile matters. Now the money would be real. Knox projected something like 3 years, $44 million, about $14.7 million a year. That's not cheap. That's why this becomes a Patriots Nation debate instantly. Some fans will say, if we're spending that kind of money, go get a true elite edge, Trey Hendrickson, Max Crosby type. Others will say, give me the reliable disruptor who plays the run, collapses pockets, and fits the scheme every week. Franklin Myers might not be in that absolute top echelon, but as a run defender and consistent disruptor, he could be a more dependable bet than just rolling the dice on depth again. So would he be the best option? Maybe not the flashiest, but as a rich-get-richer move on a line that already has serious interior talent, it's not hard to see why it's being floated. And now we circle back to that promise from the top. Here's the wild part. This isn't about one move. It's about identity. The Patriots are signaling a preference for players who amplify the system, versatile, dependable, role-clear guys, rather than chasing only the biggest names. Hollins represents culture and accountability. Shaheed represents instant field-flipping volatility. Okonkwo represents continuity and a real modern version of the 2 tight end DNA. Franklin Myers represents defensive balance and disruption without needing to be a single-stat superstar. That's smart roster building, not emotional roster building. But I want your take because this is where the debate matters. Does this patient, role-driven approach get New England back to the top? Or does it leave you one true difference-maker short when the playoff run gets real? Drop your answer in the comments, and if you want Patriots coverage like this every time something moves in Foxborough, make sure you're subscribed.